We are back with another edition of Keeping Up with Pleasant Valley Athletics, and Coach, I'm going to be the first to say I think some steak dinners are in order.
They are.
We all know what we're talking about. That if your defense or your team in general pitches a shutout, they're getting a steak dinner, and your defense definitely had a lot to do with it. So did your offense. You got it executed, and then special teams. But more importantly, when the backups got in there, Coach, it helped you guys propel to a 55-0 dominant victory over Donahoe. But just take us back to last weekend and how it all transpired.
I was excited about how we came out and played. Last year, it just seems like we got off to a slow start with them, and then it just turned into one of those ugly games that, in the final wound up being 12-2, and we scored at the end, and and we talked about that a lot this week, that last week at practice. Hey, we want to come out and start fast. We want to play that first quarter like it's the last quarter, and and that's exactly what they did. I mean, our starters, they played. They were probably, some of them were pulled as early as the middle of the second quarter, and they came out with a mission. They did their job. They got hat on hat. They stayed with their blocks. They did the things that their standard is expected to do, and and the score showed that. Defensively, they flew around the ball, and this is 11 out of 12 quarters have been shutout football, and so anytime that's going on, and that's with the JV, that's with whoever we put out there, and I was once again proud of our older guys, how they stepped up and said, hey, if you're going to go out there, guys, you better give it everything you got. And so, because sometimes like at halftime, we went over there and basically got 12 to 13 kids and said, all right, you guys got the second half, to step up and play. And so everybody got plenty of playing time, and we came out healthy, and it's just a fun night when things like that happen.
Coach, when you see your guys executing in all phases, and you see your older guys coaching your younger guys, how can you reflect back? How do we get here? That don't happen overnight. I mean, this is something special you got going over here. Do you ever think in those terms, how did we get to this? We got this going on here. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and two, you just always have to keep in mind, you've never arrived. You've never arrived. Even with the players, today we got 7 things that we're going to go over, and these 7 things, if we don't fix, will get us beat in a game. And I think that keeps everybody humble. So even as a coaching staff, yes, we're doing good, but we also got to look at some things we got to improve on when we, play a same caliber of team as us. And a lot of football is not how you win games, but how do you lose games. We don't want to create losing game habits of putting that ball on the ground, not having 11 guys on PAT, little things like that, blocking behind the play when a teammate scored a touchdown, stuff like that. We just got to get control over. And sometimes, taking ownership of that stuff, when you do make mistakes. And I think without leaders like we have on the team, that they see those same guys, hey, my bad, shake it off, go and play the next play. So right now we have great leadership and on when I make a mistake, how do I respond to that? And a lot of our junior class, they were starting as freshmen. And so they've kind of went through some valleys of highs and lows, and they've stuck with it. But so I think all of our team has respect for that. Like Jaden Sparks, I don't even know what game. He could tell me. He always keeps track of what game he's been starting, but, man, he's been starting for a long time. Braxton Salster's been starting for a long time. A lot of these players that we're asking a lot of, they've got a lot of reps under them. And I said, it wouldn't be fair for you to be stingy with this information. You have earned the right in my book to go coach. Good teams are led by players. Man, coach them up. Show them the standard that you went through.
Yeah, Coach, it's incredible, man, watching this thing transpire over the years, and this thing didn't happen overnight, but to get to where you are, very special. That being said, you and I talked a little bit off the camera earlier of what you have at stake this week. It's a top 5 matchup, man.
Yeah.
Think about that. You guys hadn't lost a road game in 673 days or something like that here at Pleasant Valley.
Yeah.
Dude, first of all, those two things right there is incredible.
Yeah.
We're talking about a top 5 matchup here at Pleasant Valley for your school, your community. Haven't lost a road game, 673 days. What is the mindset heading into this week? Because this is you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, but this is a very huge football game.
And I think you got to just focus on stuff that you can control this week. I can control, am I ready for practice? I can control, am I taking notes in the meeting? And I can control, am I getting my 30 minutes with my position coach? I can control those things. And I think the more things that we focus on this week that we can control, the better off the game's going to be. And, you just got to remember what went into all this. How did you get to this point? Well, you wouldn't have got to this point without hard work. You wouldn't have got to this point without a plan each week. And so I think it's up to the players, coaches, and everybody to keep it simple. I heard Rex Ryan say that a long time at a coaching clinic. He was talking about keeping it simple, and he said you got to have a kill mentality. Keep it likable and learnable. Keep it likable and learnable.
I like that.
And so, like this week, Pisgah does some very complicated stuff. So it's our job as coaches and these core leaders that we got on the team. How do we keep this likable and learnable? And we got to put our guys in positions that that maximize their talent, but they also got to learn. They got to learn the preparation of how we're, going in with our game plan, because the game plan's different each week, But then there's some common denominators in every game plan, and that's, keep it simple on making mistakes on each side of the ball. Don't do things to lose games, do things to win games. And, I'm impressed with that this year. Our penalties are very low this year. But that doesn't mean that we're not getting after it. Every now and then you'll get a holding call. That's expected because you're giving effort. Personal fouls have been lower than they've ever been because I think kids understand how to go hard between the whistles. And so that's the stuff that we're going to focus on this week.
Gotcha. Coach, let me ask you this. This Pisgah team, for those who haven't seen them this year, I know people's probably seen clips, they're a little bit different looking team than last year. But what should the Pleasant Valley community expect from this Pisgah team? Because I'm sure you've got a really good look on them on film.
Definitely. They're hard nosed. They're very similar to Spring Garden in the fact of they're hard nosed, gritty country kids that get after it, and they're going to play every quarter like it's the last quarter. Any time that you're going to somebody else's field, they're going to be at a high on that. And so you just got to really zone in to what your assignment is and how can I do my assignment at an angry level. And, and it's just going to come down to that, I think, with both sides of the ball. It's almost like a fist fight in a phone booth.
Man, that's true.
Yeah.
And look, and playing them up there, that's a good atmosphere. But to me, man, when you go on the road and you guys, this, Coach, from your playing days and obviously when you're coaching that, to me it makes your unit tight-knit. It's like
there ain't no doubt.
The world. Talk about that a little bit.
I'm going to be honest with you. The part that I enjoy the most about a road game is that bus ride.
Oh, yeah.
The players they're zoned in, they're in a seat, they're sitting there quiet, and some of them I don't think two kids get ready for a game the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like one kid might have earbuds on and he's listening to something. Another kid's over there going through his playbook. Another kid's watching Huddle where he's downloaded the playlist. You got each one, but they also respect the way the other one. So it's not like we're going on a field trip to Chuck E. Cheese or the aquarium.
That's right.
You're going on a business trip, and everybody is zoned into what their job. Some guys take naps. Some guys, you just sit there and look out the window. And so that's the part of the game that it still takes you back to being a player.
Oh, yeah.
Getting on that bus and knowing that we're going somewhere to play a football game, and just the preparation of your mindset. And then you're going up there to, some of our kids have never been to Pisgah. Some of them will remember it from the last playoff time that was up there. And so, anytime that you go somewhere, you have to understand that sometimes you are down by points, and you just got to play through that. Prime example with us last year was Sandrock game. Like if you could get called for it, we got called for it in the second half. And and you just have to keep playing. You can't let the opponent get in your head. You can't let the officials get in your head. You can't let all of that distractions. You just got to play the next clip.
That's right. Yeah, and like you said, you got to play through that. You can't let that allow how your performance is.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I always took that I always had like a militaristic kind of approach on that bus ride over, like silent, like, just thinking about, man, we're supposed to go to war over here, so what's about to happen? Coach, before I let you out of here, just a couple of keys on this game, some things these are things we've got to do or we're not going to be successful.
I think you got to be physical up front. The same thing we took in the spring garden, like you've got to win in the trenches. You've got to establish that you can stop the run, but you've got to establish that you can run the ball. And when those two things happen, everything else opens up. So you've got to make sure that, up front you're winning that. And I think, we're getting better and better with staying with our blocks through the whistle, not to the whistle. Some things that we've got to continue to work on is our eyes and our head placement. While you're staying with this block and you have your head on the wrong side, you can adjust in the middle of that block and get your head to the correct side. You don't have to just stay with it. So sometimes those are some details that we're still trying to get better at. But the biggest thing is, like, one of my favorite plays from last week, we put a trade centers out just to get another guy some snaps. First snap, he rolls back there. He rolls it back there like a shortstop. It goes between the quarterback and the running back, and Caden Vick picks the thing up. Now the linemen have no idea it's been a bad snap, so they are blocking through the whistle. Well, the running back goes and picks it up, and he takes it to the house.
That's awesome.
It's a busted play. But it's a busted play with maximum effort through the whistle.
That's right.
And that's what you got determination from a running back, but you also got 10 other guys getting a hat on a hat and staying with blocks.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, we're going to shut this episode down. I appreciate you sitting in. Good luck to you guys Friday night. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.